Okay, Karen, Secretary's report.
Minutes of the March 9, 2011 Belknap County Republican meeting. Meeting started at 6:30 with a Pledge of Allegiance led by Bob Holbrook. New people in attendance introduced themselves. Secretary's report was read and accepted. Treasurer's report was read and accepted with the ending balance of the Mount Washington cruise tickets are available. Frank has the tickets. He's in charge of distributing them. The only thing new with the tickets this year is they're numbered, and we are in need of items for the silent auction for the Mount Washington cruise also. Representative Elaine Swinford explained what On Deck 2012 was, and our guest speaker Ovid LaMontagne was introduced. He spoke about the Granite Oath Pact, the need to support everyone that is in government and all that are running for offices, invite newcomers to come to our meetings, let people know about our platform and what it is all about, and we cannot let our guard down. Questions and answers followed. Meeting adjourned at 8 o'clock. Next meeting will be April 12th. Respectfully submitted, Karen H. Brickner, Secretary.
A motion to accept the minutes. Dennis, second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes. That's good. Treasurer's report. Barbara Luther.
Okay, as Karen mentioned, our balance of...
Thank you very much. Do we have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
Second.
All right, I guess we've got that. All those in favor? Aye. All right, and that motion passes too. Karen just put down that everybody made the motion to accept it and second it, because it was a unanimous motion and seconded.
That's all I was
Very
saying.
interesting. Okay, going on to the old business on your agendas there. Just follow along here. The bylaws, I mentioned that the last time. Those have, I've sent off copies of the bylaws to Frank and to Skip. And I think there was someone else who had indicated that they were interested in working on the bylaws, but I don't recall who that might have been.
I at one point, way back when, but I never saw anything after that.
Oh, did you? Would you like to see them?
I'm going to be happy.
Okay, all right. And we'll make sure that you get them. Anyway, those are going to be worked on, and we are going to get them done. So that's my promise to you. Next item on the agenda, or any questions on the bylaws before we go on? Next item on the agenda is the Mount Washington cruise, which of course is the number one fundraiser item that we're talking about right now. We're less than 2 months away to the cruise. Ticket sales, I can speak personally, have been brisk. I'm not sure how any of you are doing, and I was just wondering if we can just have some people, shout out a little bit about how are you doing with ticket sales? Has anybody sold 5 tickets? Anybody sold 10 tickets? Yeah, all right. Elaine's going. Faith's going. All right.
You know what I've been asked to before they would buy the tickets? Who are we going to, they want to know who's going to be on there. So
Sure.
I think the tickets will go fast at the end. It's just a matter they're waiting for some reason.
Right.
Who's our speakers?
I was going to ask if Donald Trump going to be there. I said, best of my knowledge.
Oh my God.
He hasn't said no.
I know I'll be
He
able to
hasn't said no.
I know I'll be able to sell more.
No, I agree with you, Karen. There's no question that, if, for instance, if, a name that is recognizable to many people said, yes, they were going to go on the cruise, then we would all of a sudden sell out the boat in no time, and it would be standing room only, and we'd have people volunteering to work on the anchor and work on the boiler room or whatever, to go on the cruise. But I will say that at the moment, right at this moment, we do not have a confirmed people, and what I've been told is that the reason for that is because June 3rd, in their minds, is so far away from right now, and they can't make commitments for that because they don't really know where they're going to be. I do know that one candidate, I'm not going to go into names here, one candidate is definitely not going to be able to make it because it's his daughter's graduation that weekend. So that's one person who won't be there. However, I've been in touch with a number of different campaigns, and in fact I'm being called by campaigns now saying, I want you to know that we're still talking about it, and when we get on our national calls for that particular campaign, they're saying, they bring it up, they go, yes, we'll get back to you, we know that you want an answer on that. So I'm feeling very good right now, based on the number of people who have contacted me now, rather than me having to contact them, that we will have a handful of candidates on. How many wish to go on a cruise with other candidates? How many candidates wish to go on the cruise with other candidates is one question. I'm sure that there are some who are going to say, well, if so-and-so is on there, I don't feel comfortable going on the cruise. There are others who will not have any concerns about that, and that's why, we're certainly not going to have a dozen candidates. I don't perceive that we'll have that. If we were to have 3 candidates on board, I would be very pleased.
Well, tell them to come up, they can get off in Wolfboro.
Well, that's the
Take
thing.
3 more on.
The-
Take 3 more on.
Well, that's the part that's been explained, is that
You guys
even
agree as I protect you?
if nobody wanted to be on the boat with anybody else, or on this cruise with anybody else, theoretically we have a speaking engagement on the pier in Laconia. We have a speaking engagement on the ride from Laconia to Wolfboro. We have another speaking engagement on the pier in Wolfboro, and then we have another speaking engagement on the way back from Wolfboro to Laconia. So theoretically, we could have 4 speakers and they would never bump into each other. Okay?
Yeah.
So to speak. The other risk, of course, if we had a dozen of them on board, we might end up coming into the next port and find out that there were only 11 left. Frank?
Well, it's no different this year than any other year. We don't generally get a confirmation until very late.
Right.
We have the unique type event where we aren't dependent upon a particular name. It's a Republican cruise, great setting. People want to go on it, and there will be candidates. So don't let anybody be deterred by that. That's an excuse.
Yeah.
But Harry is waving some checks. Those of you who have them, turn them into Alan tonight.
Yes.
This should have been the first time everybody should have turned in something.
Right.
And we only have one more meeting, and that's where we should have 80% of our tickets sold by then.
Right.
May.
And I will say that if anybody doesn't have my contact information, I don't know if you want to write it down or anything like that, but certainly as far as my post office box, certainly you can send checks to me that way. Please don't send cash in the mail. If somebody gives you cash for the tickets, please write your own check and send it to me, just making sure that you specify which ticket numbers you've sold and
If their state reps are...
and who you sold them to. I'm sorry?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Especially if the state reps are senators or whatever, make sure that is defined on the name for that ticket number.
So that we can, when we announce dignitaries on board, then believe it or not, you state reps and state senators are dignitaries, yes. And we want to be able to give you that distinction when you're on the boat.
And not miss anybody this
Right,
time.
right. I guess apparently some people get missed,
Sorry, Elaine.
Wasn't me.
But anyway, just so that you know, in case you want to write it down, it's P.O. Box 14 in Gilmanton Ironworks.
You make the check out to Alan or who?
No. Belknap County Republican.
I know.
Okay, and it's 03837 for the zip code on that. I'm sorry?
Barbara too?
Well, I prefer that you send them to me because I've worked out an arrangement with Barbara so that we can make sure that we're accounting for all the cruise operations separate from the normal operations of the Belknap County Committee. Okay, and then we'll get it all into the Treasury, but at least that way we have separate accounting. Okay? And so, Harry, I don't know, if you've got checks there, that's good. If anybody else has checks or cash or anything like that, by all means, please, keep us posted. Send it to me. If you need to get in touch with me, send me an email. All of you should have a means of getting in touch with me. One way is Alan at belknapcountyrepublicans.org, and that goes every time you get an email from Skip where he's announcing anything at the bottom of the cruise information. It's got that email address. So I've got many different email addresses, and so one way or the other you'll get me. Just remember, Alan is A-L-A-N, 4 letters. My name's a 4-letter word.
No, it's the
Okay.
Okay? All right. subcommittee leaders, I just wanted to mention that I've spoken to a handful of you about getting together, and this is basically to get things truly organized right now. And what we're going to be doing is this small group of people is going to be getting together next Tuesday, 7 p.m., and it's probably going to be right here. There are a couple of people that I still need to talk to about this, to be on this, on the committee here, and each individual would head up a subcommittee, and then they will be looking for individuals to work with them in some instances, and in other instances they'll be working on their own because of the amount of effort that's required in there. But I just want to make sure that everybody has a hand in this whole thing. We're obviously going to have to cover different categories such as ticket sales, sponsorships. Oh, and I'll mention sponsorships to you while I think of it. In the past, we have not had sponsorships. Sponsorships are where many of the candidates are interested in doing sponsorships. They might make a larger donation than what would normally be, let's say, 2 tickets for $45 each. It's a way of raising funds. It's a common thing that's done for a lot of different events. We're going to have sponsorships that are going to start out at the high point of $2,500, and $1,000, $500, $250, and $125. And I'd like to point out that our first sponsor already is Jim Forsythe. He is one of our $250 sponsors, which I really want to thank you, Jim, for taking care of that.
You just reminded me of something, actually.
Yes.
April 27th, we're going to have a fundraiser for myself in the Senate PAC at Pheasant Ridge in Guilford, and the guest is going to be Rand Paul, Senator Rand Paul. 5:30 for a VIP reception, which is $250 to get in, and then 6:30 will be for $50 entrance. So love to see people there.
Okay,
Alan
thank
doing
you.
your pictures for the VIP?
I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be away.
I guess not.
I'm sorry, otherwise I would. Anyway, just so that you know, as you're selling tickets, and if you happen to bump into someone and you, who is interested in maybe doing something more, with each of those sponsorships will come tickets. It's going to range from 10 tickets for the 2,500 level, down by 2 tickets each, down to the 125 level, which will have 2 tickets. So 125 will be 2 tickets, 250 will be 4, 500 will be 6, 1,000 will be 8, and 2,500 will be 10. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that those people want those tickets. They may be willing to offer us a gift and say, if we say to them, do you want the tickets to give out, or would you like us to hand them out as complimentary tickets and give you, the credit for this ticket? In other words, we would say it's compliments of Jim Forsythe, for instance. And oftentimes people will do that. And as a matter of fact, Jim has given me 2 of his tickets to give out as complimentary tickets where it's appropriate to do that. Someone who might want to go on the cruise that has either done a lot of work for us, or somebody who can't afford it and we'd like to have them come on the cruise. You might have a student who wants to come on the cruise. Those are the different kinds of things where we can make it enjoyable for everyone. And the other thing with the sponsorships is we will have posters around that will identify the different sponsors, and certainly the higher the sponsorship level, the larger the signage, and that's the way that a lot of the presidential candidates will get name recognition. And that's the way somebody like Senator Forsythe will also get name recognition, because his name will be out there as having been a sponsor for this cruise. So hopefully this will work. I've had some conversations with a number of people who have done these before, including Kerry Marsh at Spectrum Printing, and they'll be handling a lot of the printing for us. They do a lot of the Republican events, and that'll work out, I'm sure, very well. Any questions about that? Okay. Anyway, other sponsorships other subcommittees that we have will be accounting, graphics, publicity. Skip has agreed to handle the publicity and the website. Publicity being like press releases and Facebook. We've also got check-in and check-out on the dock. normally it's just check-in. This year we have to have check-in and check-out because we're going to be doing it in Laconia and in Wolfboro. So we need to really know, it's in our best interest to know who has gotten off the boat so that we don't have people searching Lake Winnipesaukee for them because we don't know what happened to them. And so if we find that somebody got off the boat and we didn't know it, then we are going to have to look, start looking around, right, Craig?
Depends on who it is.
Okay. All right. Live video streaming to yes. We're also going to have the silent auction. We may have a live auction, raffles, photography. I'm not going to be doing photography that night. And then we've got press handling, press passes, and things of that nature, depending upon how many dignitaries we have coming on board. And depending upon who the candidates might be, we may have a sizable press corps wanting to come on the boat as well. So we'll have to find a spot for them.
You have to buy 2 tickets each.
Yeah.
That's much I felt last year and the year before, I think.
Those are the ones that are going to Winnipesaukee.
Oh, yeah, good idea. All right. Okay.
Call it a speedboat.
Moving on. Any questions about the cruise at this point? Nothing? Maybe? No? Because I want to have our Sheriff Wiggin up here shortly. Belknap County Barbecue. Bill and Faith Tobin. Bill and Faith, would you like to just fill in the committee here on what's being planned?
You want to go ahead?
No, we haven't really planned it. It's a suggestion.
Oh, sure.
We've had a few barbecues at our house in the past, and we've raised quite a bit of money. And it would be a simple barbecue, not a fancy chicken barbecue. And hopefully get some candidates. I've been talking to some also. Have some stump speeches and make it a real old home day type, fun day. So
Okay.
it's just
A date?
in the works.
A date?
Well-
Any date?
We're thinking of late August. A little scary in September because
Well,
of the weather.
Yeah. And we'll have more specific information during the cruise. I don't want to take anything away from the focus on the cruise at this point. Okay, so I want to just make sure that everybody here on the committee is aware of that, and once we get on the cruise, we'll actually make announcements there so that everybody will have all the latest information about exactly when, where, and all of that. Okay. New business? New business. We'll go on to new business. The website. Skip, I've asked Skip to speak to the group here.
Now, over the last year, the website somewhat went dormant.
You're not on camera.
I know. It's one of the perks. But the mic is live, so. It went kind of dormant, but I've reactivated it to a large degree since January, putting in all kinds of updates from basically GOP land here in New Hampshire. There's an awful lot more that could go up, content, because there's just so much out there, especially at the national level, which I have not been able to cover at this point. What I'm looking for, just as we did when we first brought the site up a couple of years ago, I'm looking for some volunteers to help me keep the site updated. This does not mean technical work of moving stuff around and all that. It just basically means, can you upload a picture? Can you write some text? If you found something that you like, if you're surfing the internet, how to put that up there as well if it pertains to either what's going on around here in New Hampshire or something that you think everybody else here, Belknap County, might be interested in. What I'd love to be able to do is to get 2, 3, 4 volunteers, do some teaching sessions. It's not that hard. If you can use a word processor, you can do this. Get the posts up there and just basically make sure that we are the most up-to-date site here in New Hampshire. So if you're interested, come and see me after the meeting.
And let me just point out that, of course, Skip's time is very valuable, and I mean, he's been doing a lot of work on the website. He's really brought it up to a high degree of professionalism now, and I'm very pleased to say that. But of course, for the amount of time that he puts in as a professional, we've got an agreement with him in place, and by having other people taking on some of the responsibilities in a volunteer way, then we can help to reduce the cost to the committee here and spread the burden around a little bit. And of course, Skip is always available to help out in case we run into any kinds of problems. So I'd encourage any of you to, who are interested, please see Skip or see me, and we'll work that out and set up a time for when we can all sit down with him and go over it and figure out how to update the website ourselves. Okay? Any questions on that? Okay. Next item on the agenda is the legislative and Belknap County update. I'm not sure. Does anybody else have, any of our reps here have anything else to say about anything going on in the legislature or the county?
Yes.
Yes.
Today, we, on a vote of 257 to 1, we named the body of water Johnson Bay, after Carl and Jeanette.
357.
357 to 1, okay.
Yeah, 357 to 1.
I'm trying to find the one that
After
voted.
Carl and Jeanette.
I'm trying to find the one that voted against it.
She knows who it is.
And he was sitting opposite elbow.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Okay. Any other
I don't know them.
any other legislative updates? No.
Who's the one that did it?
Okay.
The one that's sitting opposite
Next item is
Bob.
next item. We'll have Bob blow the whistle again here. Next item is the GOP Executive Committee meeting. I'd just like to give a quick, brief report here about what transpired at the meeting that was held on March 21st. We had a report from National Committeeman Steve Dupree, who talked about the New Hampshire primary and what's going on with Florida, wanting to have their primary before New Hampshire. And so there's a lot going on there, a lot going on in the RNC, in fact, as far as pressuring Florida to have their primary. Hopefully, I guess it would be like the beginning of March, so that we can still have our primary in February at the appointed time, because there is an agreement in place right now that South Carolina, New Hampshire, Iowa, and Nevada would be the first grouping of events, and in fact Iowa would be the caucus, they would be first, and then we would be the second event, which would be the first primary held, and that's currently scheduled for February 14th, Valentine's Day, so it's going to be 11. But anyway, they're going to keep us updated on that, and I know Chairman Jack Kimball, has come out and said that he's very confident that things will be straightened out. I think Reince Priebus, the new chairman of the RNC, is very confident of that as well. He spoke at a recent event that was held. As a matter of fact, the NHGOP held an event at the Marriott Courtyard where Reince Priebus was the guest speaker, and that was honoring Governor Sununu for all of his years of service and to the party as chairman. Jack Kimball talked at the executive committee meeting, and a couple of the important points that he made was that, number one, we've got some special elections coming up. Bob Meade was appointed Chief of Staff to Bill O'Brien, Speaker Bill O'Brien, so the seat that Bob Meade occupied, won in November, was vacated, and that's going to be, I guess they'll have a primary, I think it's May 10th or so, and I believe the actual election is going to be in June. I don't have the exact date, but basically we need some volunteers to work on these things, because frankly, it would be a terrible thing to have happen, to have a Republican seat go to the other party, because this would give the other party a whole lot of steam to say the pendulum is now swinging the other way, and that's the last thing we want to have happen. We've also got another seat that's opened up in Stratford. Marty Hardy resigned. We've got another one, two other seats that opened up, and if Elaine were here, she'd say who it was.
I
Weaver?
think his name was Weaver, right?
No,
Whedon.
Wheaton. Okay, and the other one is, begins with an H?
Huxley,
Huxley?
Robert Huxley.
Thank you, Skip. Okay. So anyway, those are all 4 special elections that we've got coming up, so there's really a need for us to ramp up. So I'll have more information sent out on the mailing list here to make sure that you're all aware of that, so that we can, if you can help out with lit drops, with phone calls or anything like that. Phone calls are usually the easiest thing to do. And you can actually even make those calls from your own home. You don't have to go to Concord or anything like that. Let's see here. Okay, I'll just mention that there's another fundraiser coming up, and that's next Wednesday for the NHGOP. That's going to be April 20th. Newt Gingrich is going to be the guest speaker for that. And I will point out that from now on, the NHGOP fundraising events, in other words, for the state committee, are going to be higher dollar value events so that they do not tap into the population that generally goes to the lower value county, city, and town committee fundraisers. So the fundraiser next week is for just the VIP reception is $250, and then there's a dinner after that, which is even higher. I think it's $1,000. So, Barbara, how much do we have in this? No. Anyway, I'm not going to cover any more stuff here on the from the executive committee because I want to turn this over to Sheriff Wiggin. Is there anything else that anybody wants to bring up before we have our guest speaker come up?